Ciao amici, I'm Chef Leo, and today I'm going to show you the build of a beautiful traditional Chicago stuffed pizza. What I've done is I've got my pan with a little bit of vegetable margarine in the bottom of this, and I've gone ahead and stretched the first dough and laid it inside the pan. It's really critical that you get this as flat as possible with no air bubbles. Then, here, this is a 14-inch pizza, and I've got about 5 pounds of mozzarella here. Literally, it's a lot of mozzarella, I know, but we're talking about something that we're not going to eat every single day. This is an experience. Your guests, your family, whoever's going to eat this, this is one of those that you want to make it over the top, and this is the way to do it. I'm going to take the mozzarella and I'm going to put it in the pan, and you know you have enough cheese when you can see that it hits the halfway up the sides of the pan. This is a 2-inch pan, so we want to see at least 1 inch of cheese. Once you have the cheese in there, I take the pan like this and I give it a little shake, and that kind of gets everything nice and uniform. We don't want any air pockets in here because when it bakes, if there are any air pockets, you're going to see the top layer of dough bubble up in some unusual places. At this point, I've got the first dough, or the second dough actually, this is already stretched. I'm going to take this and I'm going to start away from me. I'm going to lay it into the edge of the pan, and almost like we're making a pie, I'm going to make a nice uniform layer right on top. Now, you'll see that this has some movement in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start from one side, pull, and then with my fingers, I'm pressing into the sides of the dough. As I'm going around the edge like this and pressing into the side of the dough, it's going to stick. But if you see that it comes away a little bit, don't worry, we'll have time to fix that later. As I'm going around the edge of the pan, I'm using the part of my fingers here, the flat part, almost up to the second or third knuckle. As I'm going down, I really want to press this flat into the edge, and then with my thumb, I'm pushing into the back of the pan. And as I do this all the way around, the idea is that we're going to crimp 2 layers of dough to the thickness of 1 layer of dough. Your thickness should probably be about 1/4 inch, or maybe the thickness of a cardboard pizza circle. That's a really good guide to use here. Now, as I go around, I'm going to use both hands, and I'm going to kind of go and check my work. I'm going to keep going around in a circle until I feel that in my fingers, everything is nice and uniform. This traditionally is one of those styles that we use a machine to roll this out. And we say, Chicago-style pizza, there's really not a lot of love in this because there's the use of your machine instead of your hands. But the love is in the process. This whole act, you're touching this, you're getting it prepared, and I really love the way this comes out. Now, there's a lot of air. You can see the way this kind of moves around inside over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm actually going to pinch. I'm going to take my fingers and pinch just like this. Each side, opposite sides, and I'm going to pinch about the size of a quarter. I'm going to do kind of across from each other, just like this, and then one always right into the center. What's going to happen is, now we've got some vent holes, so all the air that's inside over here will be able to release. But we also are going to put our sauce on top of this right now. And before we can put the sauce into this, we need to get the excess dough off of this edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this knife. I've got the knife, and I'm going to actually put it up onto the edge of the pan, and then using the back of the knife, the heel of the knife, working towards the tip, I'm going to make a nice smooth cut all the way to the edge. At that point, I'm going to turn, and I'm going to continue cutting like this. I really prefer this method with the knife instead of the old school. We see a lot of people, they teach this with a rolling pin where we crimp the edge. I like this a lot better because I feel that it gives me a nice sharper edge on top, and the way that it bakes like this, I think that it's a very uniform color. It doesn't overchar or overburn. So once we get all the way around to the edge, if you're working in a restaurant and you're going to make this style of pizza, we never want to throw this scrap in the garbage. What we'll do is we'll take this and we'll kind of roll it into something that kind of resembles a cinnamon roll. And then this is going to go into the side, and you would be able to now take fresh dough, mix this in with the fresh dough, and we would continue rolling this out throughout the night so we never waste our dough here, okay? We're going to put this to the side for later. Now that I've got my dough in the pan, this is our last opportunity to check that the dough is perfect. So again, I'm just going to go around the edge, check my work. Don't be too concerned if you see that some of this slides down the edge, because there is yeast in this dough, and this will cause the dough to rise up a little bit also. Now that we've got this all the way around, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my sauce. Now that I've got my sauce and we're ready to go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to kind of ladle this directly in the middle. And I want to keep forming like a mound in the middle. The sauce will go where it needs to go, and I'm going to help it later in the process. A 14-inch pizza like this, we're going to use every bit of a 28-ounce can of tomatoes on this. And again, the more sauce that you're going to use, it'll keep it from over drying and being too pasty. But we don't want this to spill over the edge, so keep that in mind. Now that I've got my sauce on top over here, I'm going to put this to the side. And then I'm going to take my pan in my hands, and I'm going to kind of give this a shake. And you'll see that that action of shaking kind of gets that sauce to get into all of those nooks and crannies. And this is really important because one of the things that I notice is that a lot of times when we make a stuffed pizza or we see one made maybe on social media or in other places, you get these like really dry spots where all of a sudden there's not enough sauce in that spot. And then when this bakes, you get a burnt spot there. So if you see like right here, I've got a little bit of an area that needs a little bit more sauce. That gives me the opportunity to just kind of touch it up a little bit, get the sauce exactly where I need it, and then this is ready to go. Now, the final touch, the kiss that I love the most on this, you can go ahead and use the Parmesan with an S, right? But what I suggest, get yourself the real Parmigiano Reggiano. I really love to use Parmigiano Reggiano because the flavor of this is unlike anything else. So what I'm going to use a microplane. Microplane is really like we're going to make it snow on top of this pizza. And I love the appearance of this. Instead of that Parmesan with an S that just kind of looks like it's caked on, this has some beautiful character and some beautiful flavor. Now like this is ready to go into the oven. I'm going to put this into the oven. I'm going to set the oven. We're looking at between 480 to 490 degrees, somewhere about 22 to 25 minutes, depending on the toppings that are inside over here. Once it's done, we're going to pull it out of the pan, and then you've got the piece over here. This is amazing, guys. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us. We love to see you. And that's it.